So, folks, I wanted to compare two different reactions to the murder of Renee Good. And I wanted to take a look at like a conservative pundit's reaction, like one of the conservatives that we routinely cover here on the show, and contrast it with how another political commentator on the left is talking about this. And I wanted to do this partly because I just cannot find it in myself to go through, what's Ben Shapiro's take on the murder, what's Megyn Kelly's take on the murder, because I can only take looking at these commentators like ghoulishly justify the murder of an innocent woman so many times. And so I figured that I would pick one and then just compare and contrast that. And one of the ones that I thought of off the top of my head was Steven Crowder. And specifically, I thought about that because I remember covering his just inhumanly cruel coverage around the murder of George Floyd. And part of his coverage was basically to try and reenact George Floyd's killing. To say, oh, well, no way kneeling on someone's neck for 10 minutes could kill them. I gotta be honest, I wasn't expecting almost like a complete repeat of that, but that is in fact what we got. And I'm not going to subject you guys to the full video because, again, there's only so much cruelty that people can take, I think. And I figure we will cover a small part of this because I have no desire to subject you all to an hour plus and me meticulously breaking down said hour plus of cruel, hateful bullshit. But I think we can just take a look at this short part of the cruel bullshit to kind of get an idea of where conservatives are at. So let's take a look. This is from his recent video on YouTube, The Truth About the Minneapolis ICE Shooting.
And I told this man, author Don Winslow, that I would address him by name because he's such a piece of shit. I love it. So there are quite a few people saying this. This is the one that got the most.
By the way, you'll note he replaced the gun that he kept on his desk with his new shitty line of brain supplements because he's slowly morphing into Alex Jones.
Action. Well, the wheels are aimed away from the officer, so he should see that. He could have easily seen that as a clear sign of intent. Here's Don Winslow writing about that. The wheels are fully turned away from the officer. Watch in slow-mo. We will. No intention, in my opinion, to hit anyone. Sole intention based on wheel/steering wheel to leave that scene, not a threat. Look at the wheel. Well, here's the...
Okay, I'm also just going to throw this out there. If you're standing directly in front of a car and you step off to the side, you can in fact just not get hit by the car. Just throwing that out there. You know, like cars can't just decide to move in a direction their wheels are not turning. So you could simply step out of the trajectory of the car, which is in fact what he did. Weirdly enough. Odd that.
Truth. They were aimed.
Yeah, if he was looking at her, he would have seen her turn the steering wheel. Exactly. How do wheels turn, chat?
The officer, I don't know if you know, that's why she hit him. Yep. The wheels do then turn, which this officer would have had to witness within 0.79 seconds.
Yeah, you know, the officer that was looking directly at her and had his camera out to film her actions. Yeah, he would have noticed which way she was turning the wheel, man.
That's how long it took from his weapon being drawn and the wheels being turned while she was already on a trajectory to hit him. 0.79 seconds is about how long it took it would take place.
The definition of a split second.
The definition of a split second. And so we decided to find the closest vehicle that we could to recreate this scenario. Exact angle, exact distance. I'll be the officer. Josh will be the attempted vehicular homicide assailant. And
I'm sorry, if you believe, okay, just real quick, if you believe that she was actually trying to run him over, this again, I need to reiterate, and I've said this multiple times now. If you're in front of the car and you believe she's trying to hit you, shooting her would, one, be a violation of DHS's handbook on not shooting people who are behind the wheels of cars, because if you shoot them, the foot goes limp and the car accelerates and kills you. Like, if it's in self-defense, shooting her is literally the worst possible move. But it's not in self-defense. It's murder.
I can put this one to bed. Again, it matters because the goalposts have been moved, right? They started off with she didn't hit anyone. But we'll go through all of them as to remove all doubt. Here you go, and draw your own conclusions. I'm at the exact distance, exact angle where he would be. Should be able to see the wheel turn within that fraction of a second, right? I've chosen to use a tiny little Keltec unloaded.
It's also not the same kind of car.
With a laser so you can see. So he's right here. All right, from here I can't see the wheel. He draws his gun.
Yeah, because, you know, his vision would have been down at the hood of the car and not where he was filming, which was her face in the car where the steering wheel is.
And then, yeah, you try and hit me now. She comes forward a little bit. Okay.
Look. And then she comes forward a little bit, and this isn't how it went down, though, because you see, by the time he actually pulls the trigger, he is not in front of the car.
There you go. That's enough. Collapses. He has his hand. Can you just move the wheels a bunch? Like, go left to right? So.
I hate this man with such a passion. Like, I'm sorry, how does this work on conservatives? How does this work on conservatives? I don't understand. Other than, like, pure confirmation bias, how does this work? Can you turn the wheel a few times? Can you turn the steering wheel? Move the wheels a bunch? Hey, how does one do that? Oh, with the steering wheel, in fact? Yeah, the thing that he would have been looking at as he pulled out a gun to shoot her in the face? If he was looking at her and knew enough where to fire to shoot her in the face, would he not have seen her move the steering wheel away from him? Makes you wonder.
Yeah, there's no chance. There's no chance. You can't see it.
Minutes there, Toolman.
Well, did you mean 2 minutes of black?
2 minutes?
There was a minute of black in the end.
Oh, good.
Like
Oh, cool.
yeah, that's great.
Just found a way to fit a little racism in there.
Sounds like a Jordan Peele movie. A Minute of Black.
Yes, exactly.
1 minute till black.
19 awards. Here, by the way, is the bullet hole in the front of the windshield. So you know that, I believe you have that overlay B6, so you know that the first shot went through the front of the windshield.
The idea that, oh, well, it went through the front of the windshield. Look at where, like, I'm sorry, when you say when it went through the front of the windshield, people are going to think it happened in the middle. No, god damn it, it happened, like, right on the edge, because he wasn't in front of the car when he fired. God damn. Yeah, no, he thinks he's cooking all the time. Maybe conservatives, maybe all they need, maybe all those dumb motherfuckers need is for someone to, like, speak with authority, and they instantly turn into, like, submissive puddles.
Okay? As it was coming around. Now, here's why that matters. You see that there, and
yeah, also, excellent point there. At an angle, it would have hit her wife. Yeah, like, the angle here is such that he would have been out of the way of the car. Like, I'm sorry.
Now, here's why that matters. You see that there, and keep in mind that GoPro is aimed down. That camera is aimed down where he would not be looking. And you could not see the tires move.
Yeah, aimed down at the hood of the car where he would not be moving. That is correct. Where you wouldn't see tires moving. That is correct. because he would have been looking at the steering wheel, because anyone who is older than the age of 3 and has object permanence would know that the steering wheel turns where the car goes. And I know that, like, this might seem like a revolutionary new concept, but, toddlers do figure that out. They have those, like, plastic red, like, cars that kids, like, pedal around with their feet. Like, even they understand, like, you turn the wheel and it goes that way. You turn the wheel this way, it goes that way. Like, are we saying that this ICE agent had less intellectual capacity than, like, a 3-year-old playing with one of their little Duplo cars? Like, come on.
It gets even worse when you understand that most officers and a lot of the military, they're taught one of two different ways. There's a whole argument in the gun community, they're very autistic, about front sight focus or target focus. That's why people kind of move to red dots. If you ask any good shooters, they'll say it's a mix of both, right? If you focus on the front sight, the target's a little bit blurry. And if you focus on the target, the sight is a little bit blurry. Depending on the distance, you might pick one or the other. Usually it's a hybrid. And the reason that matters is because it changes your peripheral vision. So you could.
Yeah, man, he was totally taking, like, a called shot there. He definitely took his time. He was like a advanced Navy SEAL sniper, 100%.
Couldn't see it with a wide.
Did he just say autistic? Yeah, because again, he's a hateful piece of shit.
Angle lens compared to the human eye, let alone adrenaline and potential. Focusing as trained on that front.
Man, I love that in the world that these people operate in, it's totally fine for police officers to be jumpy as hell little piss babies, and that justifies any and all violence they do in the field. It's crazy. It's crazy. Anyway, that's about as much of that as I wanted to imbibe, because again, we're not going to go over like the entire thing. I just wanted you guys to see how full of shit and how crazy the kinds of justifications they're trying to construct for the murder of Renee Good are. Like, not a single one of them can actually justify this in a way that is not comically terrible. There is no rational basis for this, and that's pretty clear from everything that they've been doing. Now, I want to juxtapose Steven Crowder's statements here with the statements from one Zohran Mamdani, who did an interview on MS Now about the topic. Specifically, talks about one of the achievements he has as mayor already, but then he went on to talk about ICE in Minneapolis.
Joining me now is the mayor of New York City, Zohran Mamdani. You have had a hell of a week, is one way to put it. You're just, again, 8 days. I think this is day 8 of your term. And you made this incredible announcement about childcare today. We're going to dig into much more of that, how it happened, what it means. But I just want to start with what we are watching unfold in Minneapolis right now, because I know you were watching this closely, too. It could happen in any city. New York City is certainly, we know, a target of this administration and their immigration policy. In a statement yesterday, you called this murder, and I know you watched the video, we all did. As you've thought about it, what should justice look like for that ICE officer?
It has to look like accountability, and I think for far too long we've seen ICE operate as an agency with a complete sense of reckless impunity. And what we need to see across this country is an understanding that no one is above the law. And we all saw that video. We all can draw the same conclusions from it. And yet what is so often lost in a video like that, or in the stories that we read, is the havoc that this wreaks on the family of that woman that was killed, on the community that that woman was a part of. And we know that this is only one glimpse into what has been a year full of cruelty. And I know that for many New Yorkers, when they woke up this morning and they saw that video, they felt a deep sense of anxiety about whether they were safe in their own city. And as the mayor of New York City, I want to make it clear that I will stand up for each and every person who calls the city their home, no matter where they come from or where they were born.
This administration, and the vice president repeated this today, is saying he has immunity. I mean, do you think that should fly? This is something that could happen, unfortunately, in your city as well.
I think that accountability has to be true for everyone. I think that has to be true for the ICE officer that we're speaking about and every single person in this country. And I think.
Yeah, I mean, like, I remember a time in this country when even conservatives would be like, no one is above the law. But now they're also simultaneously trying to say, well, no one's above the law, except ICE, though. They can murder you, and that's fine. except our secret police force that's targeting Black and brown people and queer, like, moms of 3. They're, if you kill one of them, ICE agents are above the law.
You can see from the many attempts at mischaracterizing what actually took place as an attempt to evade that accountability. And I want to be clear that we should not have exceptions for the laws that we put forward for each and every person. They should be applicable to all of us.
I want to play something. I think as we watch the horror of yesterday and we've seen this doubling down of this administration, it is quite telling. And I want to play something that Vice President J.D. Vance said today about the victim of this shooting and just get your reaction on the other side.
I think she is a victim of left-wing ideology. What young mother shows up and decides they're going to throw their car in front of ICE officers who are enforcing legitimate law? You've got to be a little brainwashed to get to that point to where you're willing not just to protest, that's fine, not peacefully protest, but throw your vehicle in front of legitimate law enforcement officers and drive your car into them. To get to that point, you have to be, I think, radicalized in a very, very sad way.
To be clear, there is a lot of disinformation and accurate information in there that they keep on doubling down on. But what's also telling to me is that this administration has basically been smearing the victim ever since she was killed. What do comments like that tell you about their motivations?
I think it tells you that they'd like to have any and all conversations other than the fact that an ICE agent killed a woman yesterday. That's what the discussion that they would prefer not to have in this city, in this country, because it's one for which they don't have any answers. And we know that she leaves behind children, she leaves behind a family, she leaves behind friends, she leaves behind an entire city. And this is something that the administration cannot answer for because, frankly, there is no answer justifying that kind of an action.
Today, DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, you were on her mind, clearly. She was asked, she was in your city. She was asked about your statement on the shooting yesterday. And she said, and you basically said that as ICE attacks neighborhoods across the country, New York stands with immigrants. That was a big thrust of your statement. She accused you of putting, quote, illegal people who have broken our law before New York City citizens. What is your response to that from Kristi Noem?
It's hard to truly make sense of that statement. All I can tell you is that here in New York City, we know that it's possible to be a New Yorker, to be an American, and also to be an immigrant. I'm one of the examples of all three of those things in one. And yet what we have seen time and again.
Yeah, it's almost like there's, I don't know, a gigantic statue outside the city that proclaims exactly why we should value immigrants. I don't know. It's almost like that. Like we have a giant metal statue talking about how New York City is a beacon of light and hope to, the masses of people who are looking and yearning to be free. I don't know. Just I don't know. It's pretty crazy that a place like that would value immigrants. I don't know. Wild.
Again, is an attempt to have cities and states give up immigrants to a federal administration's attempt to fulfill its pledge to create the single largest deportation force in American history. And as the mayor of New York City, I'm going to stand up for everyone who calls the city their home. And I'm going to do so while following the laws we have in this city, laws which include sanctuary city policies that prohibit ICE agents from entering into New York City schools or properties unless they can actually provide a judicial warrant signed by a judge.
One of the reasons I was really looking forward to talking to you today, I mean, you never hold back, and I always appreciate that, is that in this moment of so much chaos and darkness in Washington, your announcement today was really a reminder that government can do good for the people, that if you have the will, if you have optimism about what is possible, that things can happen, people's lives can be made better. And this announcement today from you and Governor Hope.
Can I just say, like, it is wild to watch Zohran Mamdani appearances and have interviews be like, so you believe that you can make life better for people and not worse? Like, it's genuinely shocking that the level of trust in the US government is so low that, like, even interviewers who previously worked within the US government frame doing good and not active evil as, like, a wild new concept that they've never encountered before.
I should just note, puts New York City on track to become the first city in the country to provide free universal childcare, which is incredibly significant. Again, you're on day 8. How did you make this happen?
You know, I think this comes from many, many conversations that I've had with the governor and that our teams have had, all about fulfilling the commitment we have made of transforming the most expensive city in the United States into one that's affordable. But
what's that? You mean you kept a campaign promise to make universal, like, pre-K free? What? You made things better and not worse, and you kept your promise? What kind of politician are you? I just looked up. Is that Jen Psaki? It is indeed. She has a show on MS Now. It's wild, but it is also incredible how routinely Zohran Mamdani makes the Democratic leadership look like absolute chumps. Because, yeah, he calls it what it is, a murder. We saw a murder happen. There is no justification for it. It's just a murder. And not only that, people should stand up and fight for their immigrant communities. People should stand up and fight for their neighbors. It's not difficult. And you... like, when Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries are asked, like, are you going to, like, fight ICE funding in the upcoming budget battle? And then they just, like, walk away and give non-answers. Like, it makes them look so pathetically weak and small. We need better leadership. And folks, one of the best ways we can push forward legislation that keeps those of our immigrant communities safe, that pushes ICE out of our communities, that holds ICE accountable, the only way we do that is by organizing, folks. It's by organizing. I want to hold up here an achievement coming out of New Jersey, and it seems maybe small, but yesterday, the New Jersey State Senate Judiciary Committee had a hearing specifically on a number of statewide laws that were going to be introduced in order to curtail ICE activities in New Jersey. And as of 10:26 p.m. last night, one of the people who was there, Julie Cohen, updated everyone. The package of 3 immigrant protection bills were approved by the New Jersey Senate Judiciary Committee tonight. They were weakened a bit, but this is a victory for immigrants' rights. The full state legislature will vote on them Monday. Strong grassroots work made it happen. Basically, folks, when you organize locally, you can work with your city officials to get ICE the fuck out of there. When you organize on the city level, it makes it easier to organize on the state level and get ICE the fuck out of there too. If you want ICE to be held accountable, there are pathways here to do so. But it requires work on our parts. No one else is going to come and save us. It's just us. We have to be the ones who step up, who go to the meetings, who organize, and who put pressure on those politicians. It has to be us. It falls on no one else. One thing I wanted to share with all of you is specifically that Indivisible has been putting out the call for an event called ICE Out for Good. And folks, you can organize protests anywhere in the country. Mobilize Us has a number of different events happening in Minnesota, in whatever your state or location is. There are currently so many in the country right now. And you can make more. You can attend one. You can, you can use these as methods to get to know people in your community, to build up political bonds between one another, to get out there and put pressure on politicians. The more of us that show up to these, the more of us that make these, the more of us that show up and make it an issue for elected officials that they have no stance or aren't doing anything to curtail ICE, the better off we will all be. Okay, there is a way to join these. I'm going to share with you guys the link to the Mobilize page. Here you go. Mobilize.us has a lot of great political events you can attend. This is one of the ways you can start your political journey. Get involved with your local Indivisible group. If you aren't the kind of person who wants to get involved with your local Dems or your local DSA, though you should, you can get involved with your local Indivisible group, okay? And if you need help joining your local DSA, join our Discord. Reach out to Gamergy. Gamergy lives for helping people to join DSA. All right? She loves it when you guys reach out for help. And folks, Dragonfly is there putting a whole bunch of expertise out there for you guys to join and influence your local Dems towards more progressive action and policy. Okay? So if you need help, join our Discord, reach out to Dragonfly for Dems, reach out to Gamergy for DSA. It is vitally important that we all get in this fight now because they are going to be trying to escalate these ICE attacks on our communities. They're going to be trying to escalate ICE's violence against our communities. They're going to be trying to go much, much bigger, not just here in Minneapolis, but everywhere in the country. This is a warning from us to you guys. Okay? You need to get out there. You need to get organized. They're coming. And you need to be ready when they get there. So, all that being said, if you got anything out of this, let me know what you think down in the comments. Like the video. Consider supporting financially if you are at all able, because you guys make me able to do this show. I couldn't do it without you fine folks. And last but certainly not least, please check out ImogeneOlivia.com. Gender euphoric lingerie designed from the ground up for trans femmes, but also tested with cis men, cis women, non-binary folks. People really love the revolutionary style and fit. And we're going to be having more styles and more fits and more colors coming in the near future. So please check it out. Link should be down in the doobly-doo. There y'all. Cis women love your undies? Hell yeah. There we go. Seal of approval. And let's keep on going, folks.
Riverboat Jack is coming to town. All the viewers gather around. Twitch and YouTube and switchy streams. All that content is bursting the scenes. Politics, daily, plenty more. Your sense of fashion, you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord. Riverboat.